What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am in a different location. I am in a underground car park. Basically the weather around by me has been really bad lately, so it's kind of nice to just get out and have a chance to skate somewhere a bit different, which is this place. We've got some cover. The floor does get a little bit wet in here, so it can get a bit slippery, but shouldn't be too much of an issue for today. So let's get a couple of tricks and then talk about ways that we can get skating in places like this, on obstacles and things that everyone should have near them. So I want to start off talking in this video about things you can learn on a curb. A curb is like great practice for a lot of ramp tricks, a lot of grinds and different stalls and positions and balances that you can do on a skateboard. So a curb like this, most of us have got outside our homes, or at least in the car park near us. Oh, it's windy. The cool thing about curbs as well is that you can wax them like this. So this has been ingrained with wax, as you can see in the crack there. And what wax basically does is it smooths off the curb so that your trucks can basically grind on the curb. And this curb has been heavily waxed, which means it's actually quite slidey. So the first trick I'm going to recommend everyone learns to do on a curb is to simply ride off the curb. Now you can do this in two easy ways. The first way you're going to learn to do it is by letting your front wheels touch the ground first, and then rolling along, and then your back wheels touch the ground. So basically the front end drops off, roll forward, the back end drops off. And then the second way, which is harder, is actually by doing a manual off the curb and landing with all your wheels hitting the floor at the same time. So in the first option, the front wheels will hit down first, you'll roll along, and then the back wheels will hit down. What I would recommend for that is just basically holding your arms out, keeping your knees nice and bent. Your legs need to be the suspension. You don't want your body getting jolted around. You want the legs to do all the work for you. That one's quite easy. You're going to need to make sure that you get enough speed so that basically you don't get caught and just stop and lose all momentum when your front wheels drop down. You want to have enough speed to follow completely through, and so those back wheels can drop off as well, and then you should just ride away. The harder version of this trick is actually the one where you got your back foot on the tail and you basically push the tail down, and you want to elevate and suspend those front wheels for long enough that the back wheels have time to catch up, and then when the back wheels drop, all the wheels hit the ground at the same time. Again, similar considerations need to be made. You need to go fast enough that you're going to have the speed to kind of get yourself off that curb. You don't want to go really slow, pop a wheelie, slow down, and not actually have enough speed for the back wheels to get off. Secondly, you need to kind of practice your manuals. Now, what I advise for manuals is keeping your legs quite straight and tipping your body backwards. It's not about kind of, you can use your legs to tip the front end of the board up, but I would use your body as well, tip back over the back wheels, so that you're sort of balancing over the back truck. So we've discussed a little bit about dropping off curbs, but the next thing that you're going to need to do is actually climb up a curb. What would I recommend to get up curbs? Well, I'd recommend climbing up the curb. So you get your front wheels on first, and then you push your nose and get your back wheels on secondly. So how this trick is going to work, guys, is you're going to approach the curb with a little bit of speed. Keep your back foot behind those bolts so that you can push the tail down. You want to lean back over the back wheels and bend your front knee and push the tail down. That's going to lift the front wheels up, and you want to get enough lift that the front wheels can get over this curb. You're going to want to time your manual onto the curb right. Now, if you start way too early, all the way back here, you're going to have to manual for ages until you make it onto the curb. And if you start too late, you're going to crash into the curb. So timing is really important on this trick. Approach the curb with some speed, apply your pressure on the back foot, on the tail, to lift the front wheels over, and then once you're on top, you're going to want to get your foot nice and high to be able to press down on the nose and lean forward so those back wheels can climb up the curb. One thing you guys can do with this trick is you can just keep your feet on the nose and the tail. So your back foot can be behind the back bolts and your front foot can be in front of the front bolts. That way you can lean back and press down on the tail, and then when you're ready you can lean forward and press down on the nose. Right, so we've talked a little bit about getting up and getting down curbs, and those are quite easy beginning stages for learning how to ride curbs. I want to talk about things that you guys, no matter what level you're at, if you can't skate a curb yet, you should be able to do this one within, 10, 15 or 20 minutes. As you can see, as you roll forwards, the nose actually slides onto the curb. So what we're going to learn first is the nose stall, where you press the nose down and you lift the back wheels up like this. All you're going to really need to worry about is where your front foot is. Your front foot needs to ride towards the curb with your front foot above the bolts. It's going to need to be about here. What you're going to want to do is lean back over the back wheels as you're riding onto the curb. You don't want to have too much weight on this nose because you may get sort of crash into that curb and it may jolt you forwards. So you want to lean back to anticipate hitting that curb and to allow the nose to slide on top of the curb. And then when you're on top of the curb, you just shift your weight forwards. You press all your weight on that nose, so you clearly lift these wheels up. You want to stand nice and straight above the nose, hold it for a second, and then just simply lean back. Get these wheels back down, and the board should just sort of start to drift away from the curb, and you'll roll backwards. If you want to try and learn an extra trick out of this skill, then you can try the nose stall with a pivot out. So basically, all the same as before. Then you want to get your back foot behind these bolts, because when you drop the back wheels down, you want to lean back over the wheels, lift the nose off the curb and lift your wheels off the ground, your front wheels, and then turn your arms and shoulders to pivot that board around, spin 180 and then roll away as well. If you can manage this trick, you've started your journey into learning stalls and grinds and slides on curbs. So from the nose stall, you can learn the nose slide. You can simply ride onto the curb at an angle with enough speed. You want to make sure the curb is waxed so it's nice and slidey, and that nose should just slide along the curb and you'll do a nose slide. You can start off really small and then increase the speed if you want to go a bit further on the nose slide. Really useful if you've learned the nose stall with the 180 pivot out, because when you're sliding on the nose you might want to kind of twist out so that you can roll forwards again. So another fun trick that everyone can learn in their street or their car park or wherever they've got a curb is they can start to learn axle stalls. An axle stall is basically where you ollie as you approach the curb and you land with both trucks on the curb and you hold it. You want to hold your balance, and then you might want to twist and spin off so that you can kind of roll away from the axle stall. So as you've noticed today, a big theme of this set of skills that you can learn is timing and speed. You're going to want to make sure that you don't ollie too early because you're not going to land on the curb, and you want to make sure you don't ollie too late, that you either hit the curb or you land on top of the pavement. Time it so that you are landing on top of that curb. You can approach at an angle and go nice and slow and just land, bend your knees, lean back over your back wheels, waist out, roll away from the trick. Maybe the angled version, maybe going at like a 45-degree angle like this, is kind of advisable for you if you're new to this trick, because then you don't have to actually rotate so much. You only have to rotate this much to line those trucks up. This trick can very easily convert into a grind. If you hit it at an angle with some speed and the curb is waxed or slidey, then you will naturally start to grind. Once you want to stop grinding, you just lean back over those back wheels, twist the board, and you should just roll off. And last but definitely not least is one of the original tricks that used to go down on curbs, something called a slappy grind. Now a slappy grind is like a grind that we just did, the 50-50, but without ollieing. So what you need to do is hit this curb with enough speed and enough confidence. Confidence is real key in this trick. That basically the wheels have got nowhere else to go but to climb up the side of the curb, and they smash on top of that curb and you slide along it. Now this sounds really scary, and if you've never tried one before, if you're trying it for the first time, you're going to be scared. You're going to think, oh my god, I'm riding at a curb, I'm just going to crash into it. And in a sense you are crashing into it, but if you approach at an angle where the wheels are going to hit that curb, they will climb up the curb and they will slide along. One way of thinking about this trick is that thinking that you're kind of riding a wave, you kind of want to really lean out. So you want to lean fully sort of this way from the curb. So you've got a lot of pressure on those wheels, a lot of weight behind you to kind of force those trucks onto the top. So for this slappy grind, I would advise riding with your feet on top of these bolts. That's where your feet are going to want to be. You don't need to press the tail down to lift the front end, because like we discussed, the front end needs to kind of ride into the curb so that that wheel has nowhere to go but climb on top. Another thing that you guys need to know is that I want you to try this trick first, doing it backside. Basically, I'm going to hit this curb this way with my back to the curb. That's backside. It's basically the heel side of your skateboard. Those wheels are going to be the wheels to smash into the curb and climb on top. As you've done the slappy grind and you're sliding towards the end, lean back over the back wheel, lift up those front wheels a little bit and just twist off. And you know, all your wheels will set on the floor and you should have a little bit of momentum left that will just carry you off the grind, and it'll all work. And obviously, after you guys have learned all these sort of beginner easy tricks that you can learn on curb, then you can take them more advanced. You can try harder grinds, you can try to do sort of 5-0 grinds, 180s out of the grinds, shove it out of the grinds. You could kickflip up the curb and do all sorts of different kind of tricks. So get out there and get started with these tricks. If you find them hard, some of these skills might take you 5 minutes and some of them might take you 2 hours, and that's okay. I mean, we've all put the time in, and that's why skateboarding is so cool, because it's really hard. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. Let me know if you'd like some sort of intermediate tricks that you can do on curbs or in environments like this one, and I'll happily sort of make more videos like this if there's demand. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe and hit that bell notification to get notifications when we upload these videos. Take care and keep skating.